sometimes if you're watching Lorraine, it's like, oh my gosh, she's really good.
Show me parallel lines.
In watching her lesson, I really noticed that she's infusing her lesson with great modeling, and she's using a whole truckload of SDAIE strategies. I mean, she's using think, prepare, share a lot, giving them think time and wait time. She's really giving them a cushion of being able to work with a partner or working in a small group. And so she's allowing them a comfort level to be able to collaborate with other people.
Because it's the beginning of the year, your boys and girls have only been here in third grade for 6 weeks, something like that. It's obvious that they're at the beginning stages of increasing their mathematical vocabulary. And I think today was a good way for you and for me to see where they're at and where we need to go as far as how much math vocabulary do we need to delve into. And I think they need a lot of exposure to math vocabulary. Again, we have to maintain the language of the discipline. We cannot water down the curriculum by choosing other words that mean the same thing, but not the actual words that they need to know to be successful in that content area.
I think it was really good because my students didn't have ownership of those new vocabulary words yet, and they kept saying closed figure, and so you were guiding them towards using the new terminology.
It's a closed figure. It has 3 or more sides. So what math word can we use to describe a rectangle?
Polygon.
Is it a polygon?
Yes.
By pulling out the key vocabulary, you don't overwhelm them with everything that's in our textbooks, and you teach the kids what that word means within the context of that lesson. So once they delve into the actual content, the actual instruction, they already have an understanding of what that word means. So when they read it for the first time, it's not new to them. They have prior knowledge.
It's kind of like previewing that information so that they have some sort of prior knowledge before you get started. During your lesson, I think it was really good for me just to see some of those SDAIE strategies that I've been attempting, but not completely sure that I've been doing them the right way. So it was kind of nice to see someone using them and using other sorts of strategies that I hadn't even thought about.
Most of you have how many shoulder partners? 2. Some of you only have 1. So I might say, tell your shoulder partner, and then I could say, tell your other shoulder partner.
I think it was interesting because it kind of made me question my seating arrangement. I'm a roving teacher, so each room I rove into is a new seating arrangement, which you can change each month that you go into that room, but it kind of made me question how might my seats be arranged differently to best serve the needs of my English language learners.
For our English language learners, we know that students sitting in groups is just much more conducive to providing them the opportunity to practice the language that we want them to learn. So if you could arrange the seating so that they're in table groups of 4, that would really, really increase the time that your students get to practice the language that you want them to learn. And ideally 4 is the best number because they have their shoulder partner, they have their eyeball partner, and they also have their diagonal partner. And the amount of conversation time goes up 50% because they always have one other person to listen to all the time. There's not one man out. So not only are they practicing their oral language, they're also practicing their listening skills.
What would you suggest as far as how to arrange my students as far as their language levels?
Once you know where your students are as far as their level of language acquisition, if you can set up your classroom where you have tables of 4, groups of 4, you want to put a low student, 2 medium students, and a high student. It really is ideal because you provide that scaffolding or that bridge between the high student and the low student. For that higher student, he or she provides that model. And the medium students are actually practicing it, and then your lower student is really hearing what you want them to hear many more times. And we all know that boys and girls need to hear things many, many times before it becomes a part of their repertoire. So we want to provide that. If we want them to learn English, they have to have the opportunity to speak it and to practice it in a safe environment. The other thing that you need to consider is that as the year goes by, your students are going to make just incredible progress. And so your groups are dynamic. They always have to change.
Talk with your shoulder partner. What makes a rectangle a rectangle?
I think it was also really helpful for me to remember to give them that think time. And we have so much to fit in during the school day, and there's this tendency to keep brushing and moving that pace along, and we have that pressure on our shoulders as teachers to cover all the curriculum, and it was just nice to watch that pacing be, still keep going, but giving them that think time that they really need.
Well, as I said, I like to go sit and talk with you and tell you what would come next in the lesson, and then have you do it.
Thanks for coming. I think it was really valuable learning experience. It's always good to watch other expert teachers in action.
Thank you, and it's great to come into a good classroom with a teacher who's willing to try new things.